Hey kids, what's up? We've not done a normal 15 plus 10 in a little while. I think I'm currently rated 1500 in both Blitz and Rapid. I've been playing a bunch of Blitz just for giggles recently. And I've got a 1471 rated opponent. We're going to go normal. Just started looking into a new defense actually, which might be useful for chess bootcamp guys. Okay, so we've got ourselves a Russo. That's pretty cool. Loads and loads of time. Whew, and relax. And relax. 1520. I want to get to 1600. I want to get to 1700. I want to get to 1800. Opponent's now having to think. He's saying, what new devilry is this? Should I take the pawn? Well, no, you should not take the pawn. Because then it becomes basically a Vienna Gambit with this bishop out, and that bishop, by the way, can also be a target at some point if this pawn vacates that square, and we get to develop with tempo. Okay, this I think is the best move. I think the general rule is if this bishop is out here in any of the Kruger openings, if the bishop is out there, you take the pawn next to the bishop. If the bishop is not there, you take the pawn here with tempo on the knight. Knight can actually technically move in. Then in kind of Scotch Gambit style, we do have knight e5, defending the c7 square and also hitting the bishop at the same time. Of course, with the knight there, we can't play that move. So opponent has found the best line for white. Okay, and castles. Now, interesting. That allows me to play this, attacking the knight, but then we have rook e1. Pinsky. I have this. It's still kind of inviting him to take. That is my hunch. Knight here. If he takes, I have this, right? Knight here, I'm getting closer to castling as well. The knight there is rarely a bad idea anyway. I'm inviting him to say, I'm saying, come on, do it. Notice I can't short castle either because of the Italian bishop. So we are definitely up against it. We're out of trickster territory right now, I think. But we are up a pawn, technically we're up a pawn, so inviting him to capture here. At which point I have this with tempo immediately. Now he could play rook e1 check. I can block that though with the bishop. I could also... No, I can't... Oh, yeah I can, if my pawn's on d5. No, because the rook can take the bishop. Use this time to practice visualizing what's going to happen if this sequence, if that sequence is the other sequence, right? The more you do that, the better you get at it. The more you do that, the easier it gets. Okay, so what am I visualizing? I'm visualizing e takes f5, d5, hitting the bishop. Bishop's now under pressure, but then rook to e1. I have this. Okay, okay. He takes that pawn. If I take and we have queen takes, I can take this pawn, but then that's risky because he has rook e1 and he has f3 attacking the pinned piece. I can take with the pawn, of course. Knight takes, I can take a choice of pawns. Do we want to invite the queen out into the board? Might not be the end of the world. Opponent's playing well. Bentley, whatever it is, it's clean, mate. Okay. This is the Rousseau Gambit kind of backfiring on us, right? I don't like that idea. I like that idea a little bit more. Bentley! Oi! Out. Go on. Go out if you're going to lick. Go on. Okay. I think we have to prioritize development, so... And he's also threatening this, right? So if I take here, he can't do that. I think that makes sense. Just takes there. I'm still a pawn up for now. If he takes... I'll probably take with the B pawn to support this. And at least we get a center out of it. Also, if d5, then we block the bishop's view of g8, and I might be able to castle short. Castling long is still not out of the question. At 1400, 1500 level, the Rousseau Gambit should not be refuted, really. Sometimes your opponent will find the best lines, and that's an opportunity for you to practice how to respond to the best lines. Or how to handle the best responses. Okay, bishop g5 with a pin. Huh. So if bishop should take, I have queen takes. That's not bad. My first inclination is to play bishop c5, so that should this knight ever move, I end up with a queen there. It really de-encourages rook e1. So part of me thinks actually putting the question to the bishop is not necessarily a bad thing right now. But I am well behind. I am well behind. However, I do have d5, eh? I do have d5 with pressure on the bishop. And do I just get to play this for free? But if he takes here, I can't recapture with a queen because then he takes the pawn, yeah? So I play d5, he takes here, I take with a g pawn. Then I could have a queen up in my face. That could be funky. I do this. He takes, my queen's under attack, so I have to do something. I don't think queen takes is on the cards because bishop takes d5. Puts pressure on this as well. Let's try it. Knight takes here, b takes. Bishop takes here, it's pawn. Okay, he's moved out of the way. Kind of wasting a bit of a move. But he does have now like two eyes on this, and it's defended currently only by that, so my hunch is simply bishop d7, adding a second defender. We don't want to find ourselves in king rook fork territory. Actually had that in my not a speedrun game earlier on today. Or the same kind of pattern anyway. We needed to make sure we avoided it. Opponent actually had the opportunity to play it. 700 rated opponent, and missed the opportunity. He had kind of, the window opened and shut quickly. I spotted it, he didn't, fortunately. But it was not my finest hour. Hello, fly. I've just been buzzed. Okay, we're behind. I mean, there's no question about this, but we are up in material. Black's advantage, he has some centre. White's advantage, 3 minor pieces out in the board and having castled. So that's like a development score of 5. I've got a development score of 3 right now. But if he trades off, he's dissolving, he's diluting his own advantages. I want to bring this bishop out. I want to get my king safe now. I'm not worried about the bishop coming back to the Italian position. That's fine. I'm not really worried about this bishop either. I might just kick it for fun. Maybe even double kick, put it back here. I don't know. Both bishops are kickable. Call them both Bishop Brennan. Alright, you've taken, man. Okay, well, there's a bit of an argument. Yes, black has some light squared pawns in the middle, but I don't know. Okay, first thought is to take the pawn. But I'm going to have the bishop pair. If I take with the bishop, he trades off. where's his advantage gone, honestly? So in a way, he's saying, I give up my light squared bishop. I think actually your knight is a better piece than my light squared bishop, and I'm inclined to agree with him at this moment in time. Now, the question for me is, do I trade off my light squared bishop using the same logic that he used? Maybe allow his knight to come in and maybe end up with 3 pawn islands. But I have all the central control. But on the downside then, I have only the one bishop in the ending. Or do I capture with a pawn, b takes e6, controlling this square with a pawn, defending this? I think it's pawn. I do think it's pawn. I think pawn is correct here. Now, I do have to be careful about this knight in the center. But you never know, man. You never know. Who says I can't just push all my pawns forward and stick them all on dark squares and then bring this guy to life? This is what you have to know about pawns. Pawns move forwards. I mean, it's the first thing that you learn in chess. Pawns move forwards, can't move backwards, and every time they move forwards, they change color complex. Every time a knight moves, it changes color complex. It's the two things that pawns and knights, well, something that pawns and knights have in common. No other piece does that. Bishops can't change color complex. All right, now, are we worried about this? No. Bishop guards this. I could, right, it's a thought to start harassing the knight, but my next thought is to develop the bishop to one of these squares, or even here maybe. But there we just walk into c3. And what's been gained by that? Not a lot. Here means the queen's defending the knight. Or even here, I mean, there's an argument for that. This I'm not sure about. Also, notice the rook has now undefended the f2 pawn. So could we have ideas about maybe attacking that one day? Which again brings me back to bishop c5. Putting it on this diagonal also lines up with the king. Is there a problem with that? Not that I can see. Okay, now we have 1, 2, 3 pieces out on the board. Black has 2 and has castled. So, you know, Black's now has not extended his development lead and has not really capitalized on it either. I'm 50 points higher rated than my opponent right now. But I know that when I play well, I play, you know, 1750 level in blitz. I'm capable of playing 2000 level. Okay, all right. So he's exploiting the pin on the pawn. Pin on the pawn. Now, what if I counterattack the bishop and say, yeah, take the pawn. I just take a whole piece. Bishop comes back here. I kick him again. I just castle my king. I could just castle my king now. Right? I castle my king. This knight is pinned, by the way, because the bishop's looking at the queen. I kick the bish. The bish retreats. I kick again. The bish goes to g3. My knight is no longer pinned. This is the point, though. Now, it does upset. Oh, notice as well, with this move, the knight is now in an absolute pin. Interesting. So this queen must defend the knight. Kickity. Kickity back. Knight is now unpinned. The pawn is still pinned. I need to castle then. Now, could I just castle now? Well, that doesn't work. If I castle now, he's not. I don't think he's going to take there because he just invites the queen into his face. If I castle and f takes e4, my knight is still pinned. Takes. I lose a pawn. If I kickity, he goes back. Doing it. If he takes, I take the bishop. He takes again with check. I move out of the way. I'm a piece up. I'm definitely expecting this, or possibly bishop could come back in that direction. I think he'll probably want to maintain the pin, in which case I am planning this, and then the pin is broken, then I can just castle. Yes, I have an exposed king, but there's only one bishop and the queen hasn't moved yet. Most of the queen side is still in the box. Suddenly black is looking quite active. This does feel like a bit of a risky maneuver. Now, it's still not necessarily the case that I have to castle. I have to castle short. I could even think about a move like king f7, not castling at all. That's the question. Where is the king safest? But then this is a two-move thing. The thing about castling, I put my rook straight on f8. f8 might be an idea. Taking this pawn might be an idea. My opponent has weakened some stuff on this side with this attack. Yeah. I'd love to put pressure on this knight. I can't do it with a pawn. Can't do it with that pawn either. I'll get my queen here, be something. Might even have options of this too. So, you know, you never know. Also, b2 is a weakness because the bishops come out to play. You never know. I mean, my queen on e5 could be a jolly good piece. Put serious pressure on the knight. But then c3, right? But then bishop drops back. And we're attacking, we've just switched our attack. It's kind of one of those flexible moves. g3, and then suddenly, I don't know. I mean, this knight's, remember, this knight's pinned. It can't capture here. One day I might think about dropping my bishop back here, but it'd be a waste of a move now. Waste of tempo. Still a pawn up as well. I'm clinging on here. What's he thinking about? Is he thinking about this, or is he weighing up his retreat options? If he does this, I'm just going to bang out g5, I think. Because that unpins my queen, unpins my knight. Yeah, my knight's currently pinned. They're there, and, you know, yeah, he'll drop back. Or he might even drop back there, actually, because of this pin. That's definitely a possibility. Okay, so he's traded. Now, obviously, I think queen takes. But let's have a think. Queen takes also puts pressure on this and puts pressure on b2. And defends this a second time. And gets my queens off the back rank. And gets me ready to connect my rooks. Okay? Yeah? I'm actually threatening to take this knight outright with check. Okay, so he's had to do this. Now I think we castle. As Naroditsky would say. Because he says stuff twice. Because he says such great stuff, you know? Love you, Danya. And now, who's better, right? I've got two bishops. White has two knights. I'd love to just make some space, you know, here. This knight is in a pin. So actually, this capture now, this capture is profoundly unpleasant. I've got my rook on f8. I've got my queen and my rook lined up on the semi-open f-file. I have already pressure against the f3 pawn. He didn't have to push this pawn forward. He's pinned his own knight here. You know? These are circumstances highly in my favour. There you go. Place that quote, guys. Place that quote. Now, confession, it might just be from the TV version. I don't know, because I haven't read the book. If you want the full quote, my dear cousin, my situation in life, my connection with a family. These are circumstances highly in my favour. You know, if I can hold on, coming out of a gambit, a pawn up. Coming out of a gambit where my opponent found the good response. Well, jeepers and creepers. Alright, okay, boys and girls, we have ourselves some thinking to do. If I drop the bishop back, the knight remains pinned. If I trade here, he might take with queen, that ends up with an IQP. I have a bishop, I have a light square bishop in the endgame. Opponent has a knight that's currently still sitting in the box. Another option is, dropping back this, maintain the pin. That also freezes that pawn, it can't advance because knight is then lost. Really bad. Okay, so dropping the bishop back, this pawn is pinned, this knight is pinned effectively. This pawn can't do nothing. So dropping the bishop back is kind of a free move. Other option, bishop d6. Maybe we come in. I don't know. But then we give up the whole privilege of maintaining this pin. And I don't see a reason to do that right now. I don't see a reason to do that, as Daniel would say. Okay, so I'm still eyeing up this though, right? Pawn takes back. I've got queen takes. Knight's still pinned. That knight has got a gun to its head. It's like, one false move and the horse gets it, So the knight can't do nothing. The knight is out of the game, right? So we're threatening to take here. We're threatening to push and win material with check. Ooh. Damn. Nah. While we're waiting, anyone watching Wimbledon as well? Watched what Djokovic, man? That first set against this giant, this Polish giant he was playing, 6'7", knocking in aces just at will. Okay, right now everything changes. Now the pin on the knight is not even there. It's less than worthless, right? And also, I've now given up the option of putting my bishop back there because the pawn controls his space. So my first thought is actually to trade off the bish. Okay, second thought is this. Another idea is actually c5, actually. c5 threatens the knight. Okay, knight can't come in there. Because remember this bishop knight or queen knight configuration means that all the knight's forward squares sit on the same two diagonals controlled by, So maybe, baby. All right, maybe that's an idea. Because right now this bishop's just become really bad after that move. I think my opponent played a blinder there. Now we should also consider this. Then knight takes, Knight takes, he lines up his rook here. He's not going to take with the pawn. I don't think he's going to take with the queen. So I think this is premature. It doesn't really achieve much. He does that, knight takes, knight improves itself, he brings out his knight, he kind of just settles down, right? Now back to this idea. I'm not sure about this idea. There, yeah, maybe pawn takes. Or queen takes, we could trade queens. I don't know. So loads of pawns on this light square diagonal, makes my light squared bishop look a bit dumb. So I'm coming back to this move. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to do c5. Whenever you find some candidate moves, try and find one more, because it may be better than all of them. It may be crap, don't matter. Like I always used to say, if you ever play poker, right? Knowing when you've got a bad hand and folding is super important. Now my bishop becomes simply stronger, right? This bishop still controls all of these squares, so this knight is not in a great position. I'm threatening to take again. Also, should the king ever go back to g1, the knight is still in some trouble. But also I now have this idea, and I have this idea, because we've just resolved the pawn gridlock in the middle created by the bishop-knight trade of white, that white initiated, right? Maybe he's got this, I don't know. He can now win a pawn back, I think, yes? Rook takes, I don't know. There we go, yeah. If I take... Is that my wife coming back? Yeah. Okay. I'm kind of inclined to bring his rook out into the board. I think we should do that. Okay, so I'm now kind of giving back my extra pawn. Okay, so we just paused there, and white has played this. Okay, so we've got two knights. Very bad pawn. Okay, there's a lot going on here now, and we need to think carefully. I have two bishops, which I'm very pleased with. That's an idea of a move. So he's declined the opportunity to recapture immediately. He's got very good control over the back rank. That is not going to be our happy hunting ground. This is definitely now playable. I'm a pawn up. I would be 2 pawns up. He does have double control over this, but if he takes, I could trade queens off. Right? I have 2 isolated pawns already. Takes, queen takes. I don't know. That's not playable. That's not playable. I like to make my light squared bishop better. Takes, queen takes. I'm up 2 pawns. I immediately go back down a pawn. I don't know. Feels like there ought to be something, but I'm just kind of, part of me just inclined to drop that back. You know, maintain the pressure of having a bishop eyeing up the king's corner. I'm going to give up a pawn anyway, right? Okay. Now. Okay, his knights are good. This is defended by the knight. Do we come in here? Something like that. This is likely to come, or maybe even this, eyeing up this. I'm going to come here. With ideas of maybe bishop c8, bishop b7. Mondo pressure on here, but similarly pressure on there. Interesting. The queen's attacking both of those. Right? I want to prove that my bishops are way better than his horses, although his horses have significantly improved by getting into the center. Material here is equal. Pawns are actually almost symmetrical. Right, my pawn's doing a job at his pawn on h6. It's helping to prevent his light squared pawn, his light squared knight, from making progress. Okay, do I want to do this first? I think so. Okay, so it's just moved his light squared knight onto an alternate square. I get it. He's guarding g2. I'm thinking something like this now. You know, just potentially pin this. Maybe put more pressure on. You know. In fact, I could even go there because the knight can't even take. So he loses your queen, doesn't it? You know. But this is simple. Let's tuck the bishop away there on b7. And we have the bishops of doom looking down the board there. Opponent's down to 2 minutes as well, and we're making him think now. He thought for 42 seconds over his last move, and he can't do that all day long. Now I have a free discovery on queenage. So is this an idea, or do we just do this? I think we just do this. Okay. Using the clock a little bit to pressure my opponent. I don't think this can be a mistake. He doesn't have a check. He has a check here. Then I just king h8. Or actually, put the pressure straight back on you. And here I'm threatening once, you see, twice. Maybe. Okay. Oh, queen defends now. So I'm going to drop the bishop back to the place we first... Oh, no! No! That's a disco. But it's not. Actually, it's not, because I can replace my bishop. Right. Okay, now we have issues. I might need to put my bishop here. Yeah, I did not think that through, but fortunately I have this counterattacking the queen again. You take the bishop, you lose your queen. Doesn't work. So something like this. He's down to 1 minute 43. 1 minute 40. This is not on, it's defended twice. Notice that queens defend sideways. Very easy to forget. Maybe even actually a6, but drop my bishop back down here. I don't know. He is running out of ideas. He wants to prevent this idea, actually. I take, he takes back. That costs him a tempo. I move the king. Okay. Now this doesn't work because it doesn't come with a discovered check. Right? If he does that, what do I do though? I have to do this? No. If he does that, that's interesting actually. Could still win the bishop because the thing is that bishop's actually kind of pinned. I take this knight. Give him one opportunity to recapture. Oh, you can't recapture. Let's say he does this. Let's say I take that, hitting the queen. Wow, interesting. But that completely avoids this. Do I take here? Or do I just do this with tempo on the rook? Let's win the tempo. Now there is an increment here, but opponent is nearly down to a minute. I've got 4:42 left. This is not a bad thing. The pawn has to recapture because the queen can't. Because I have another thingy. That is also not playable. This pawn takes. I could just do like that. Also threatens this. Could be quite good. 38, 37. Nice safe structure on the dark squares here. Pawn moves forward, I just snatch it off. Oh, alright then. Okay. Thinking just that. Yeah. Also attacks the rook, so now the knight... What's the knight going to do? The knight's the defender of the rook, yeah? Knight goes here, I take it. Knight goes here. I have to move the king again. That is actually checkmate though. It's not. No, it's not quite. You can block with the knight, takes, that's checkmate. I have this too. There's a lot of pressure. Having the king in the corner is a massive risk on its own. And we're about to win on time. And we do. Good game. We're just ahead. He had to find the move rook e7. What? Huh. Queen can't take, says a knight fork. But you're not going to find that in under that much time pressure. It's going to be tricky. Okay, very quick look at the review. Nah, not my best. I mean, we're in a winning position here. And this was not fantastic. I made a series of inaccurate moves here. Best move is what it's going to say. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Nice. Yeah. Just threatening just to pile on through with so much pressure. That's also inaccurate. I should have played. Another inaccuracy. So near, in a series of moves, I've nearly given away my whole advantage. Oh, that's nice. Because queen can't take. Why? And the lovely back rank, very classic back rank pattern. Yeah, missing some tricks there. Missing some tricks, but getting the job done. That's the important thing. Okay, we'll leave it there for today. Thanks for watching, everybody. See you later.